In a post-apocalyptic world, Southeast Asia has become a haven for biotechnology companies when a highly contagious pathogen starts spreading in the population. The infection spreads very rapidly. The government quarantines the infected cities while the military stops anyone from leaving. A rich man hires an ex-military officer named Max to save his daughter, Jude, from the infected city. He also tells Max that he is the only one capable of doing this difficult task, so he will be well rewarded. He also assures him that the city is not in danger as the media presents. And once Max gets in, there will not be much to deal with. However, that is not true. The city is in shambles, with zombies everywhere. There is no food, resources, or even safe places to sleep. Max has 4 to 5 men under his command, and he gets to know on his walkie-talkie from Broadus, the leading head of the second team, that the zombies have eaten the other team, with only him surviving and asking for backup. But there is no longer a backup as only very few are surviving. Max and the boys leave to search for ammo, and they move without making any noise. As the city is filled with zombies, the military face many of them scattered on the streets, and they kill the ones alone before they can alert others about a human being in the vicinity and outnumber them. They come near an apartment building and find a zombie sitting in the car, so one of the men slices his throat before he can notice them. But unfortunately, the zombie's head falls flat against the car's horn, causing it to ring loudly and catch everyone's attention. Hearing the noise, zombies swarm them, and they fight them off as best as they can before they catch one of the men and focus on eating him while the others run away to safety. Now with only 3 left, they notice that Hernandez, one of the boys, throws up blood. They check him and find a bite mark on him. They are ready to kill him as he would soon turn into a zombie, but they see a helicopter approaching them. They think it is for their rescue and run towards it. Max sees Hernandez vomiting more blood and decides to kill him despite Hernandez begging to be left alone. Before Max can attack, another zombie attacks him, so he gets occupied with that, and Hernandez runs away. Max and his last remaining companion reach the helicopter, but he decides to continue the mission alone, determined to find Jude. In contrast, his companion leaves for home. Max, now alone, sets out to locate Jude. He tries to connect with Broadus through his walkie-talkie, but it doesn't work. He suddenly sees a lot of zombies in the alley he is walking and hides in the dark, knowing if he doesn't make a sound, he will be fine, when all of a sudden his walkie-talkie starts malfunctioning, making a sound attracting the zombies who quickly swarm him. He fights them and jumps across a gate that holds back all the zombies. Meanwhile, armed with weapons, Jude enters a supermarket, gathering supplies silently. However, her actions alert a nearby zombie, attracting more undead toward her. Just as she starts running, Max arrives on a bike and asks her to join him. He takes her to a safe location and reveals that her father sent him to rescue her. Jude opens up, revealing that her father put her in danger. She asks Max how he got in, and he says the real question is how they get out. Jude proposes to lead Max to 5 other survivors, taking him to an abandoned mansion where they hide. When they reach the mansion, the survivors introduce themselves, and Duke is the leading person. They have set a few rules to ensure their survival and expect Max to conform. Later, Reese calls Jude out for saying she randomly found Max and demands the truth, but Jude angrily tells him not to poke his nose in her business. Later that night, Duke calls Max into his office, and Anna makes his coffee. Duke questions him about where he has been for the past 3 months, and he replies that he is a private contractor and he landed here 14 days ago to save Jude. When Duke asks who gave him the mission, Max says he cannot disclose the client's information. Duke opens the city map, and Max tells him what routes he has tried. Duke answers that they have tried every possible route, but nothing works, and each time they return fewer. All they can do is survive long enough to outlive the virus. Jude goes to the washroom and takes the pregnancy test she had bought in secrecy, and turns out that she is pregnant, and Lynn finds out. But they both decide not to tell anyone about it yet. All the people gather for dinner, and they get into a fight as Jude thinks Max can get them all out. Still, Duke tells her that Max has lost all his men and they would die if they go out carelessly. At least they are safe here, which causes Reese to get angry as he says, being surrounded by zombies is the last thing near safe. After dinner, Max checks the maps again, and Anna asks to join him, saying she would like to leave this place as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Duke finds Jude sitting alone and questions why Max came for her, to which she pretends ignorance. Duke tells her that he knows something is going on and time will reveal it if Jude does not herself. Later that night, Jude finds Reese sitting on the porch. Jude apologizes to Reese for her earlier outburst and confides that her father sent Max, urging him to keep it a secret. Reese jokes about being in a relationship with the boss's daughter, indicating that he must work in Jude's father's company, and promises to keep her secret. The next morning, they all head out to gather supplies. While Elvis fills fuel cans, Max suddenly grabs Jude and tells her they're leaving. Jude is reluctant, fearing for the safety of the others. Max believes Duke won't follow his plan, leading to pointless conflicts. Jude strongly refuses to go alone with Max and asks him to take everyone. Despite Jude's refusal, Max insists and drags her with him. The rest of the team arrives, confronting Max with guns, demanding Jude's release. They hit and tie him to a pole, where Duke notes Max's determination but warns him that bravery alone won't save them. Many brave individuals have died. Duke is determined not to let Max endanger anyone, convinced he can protect them better. Max attempts to reason with Duke, but Duke abandons him to face the zombies. In a last effort to convince Duke, Max reveals top-secret information that the government plans to burn the entire city, the virus, and all people, rendering Duke's plan to outlive the virus futile and putting everyone's lives at risk. Duke questions the source of this information. Despite Max's plead, Duke pays no heed, chains Max to a pole, and leaves him to die. Max is attacked by Hernandez, who is now completely turned into a zombie and has no choice but to kill him. On the other hand, after reaching the mansion, Duke feeds the others a false story, claiming that Max has decided to abandon their group and go his own way. In the evening, Reese and Jude disagree on why Jude is so stressed about Max leaving them, when Lynn reveals to Reese that Jude is pregnant. This revelation changes everything for him. He rushes out to Max's rescue, finding him surrounded by a swarm of zombies. Determined to save his friend, Reese fearlessly fights off the horde, eventually freeing Max and finding a hiding spot for both of them. Max questions Reese's will to save Max when he abandoned him in the morning, and in the heat of the moment, Reese confides in Max about Jude's pregnancy, revealing how this newfound knowledge has altered his view of their situation. Later that night, Reese asks Max if he has any kids, expressing his fear of becoming a father. He playfully mentions being a lab geek, creating bacteria rather than babies, and trying to ease his nerves. Max jokes that he is dealing with zombies and shouldn't be worried about changing a baby's diapers. The next morning, Jude is hysterical as Reese doesn't return the entire night and is determined to follow Reese, but Duke forcefully tries to stop her. Lynn reveals that Jude is pregnant, and Duke realizes she refused to go with Max because she wanted to be with the father of her child, Reese. In a moment of stress, Duke discloses that the city and everyone in it will be burned. He justifies his actions, claiming he did more to protect Jude than her father ever did. Lynn, Elives, and Anna are surprised by the statement and ask who Jude's father is. Duke reveals that Jude's father owns the biotech company responsible for spreading the virus. On the other side, Max and Reese go outside and are startled to see robots effortlessly killing zombies. They try to hide from robots, but when the zombies attack, they must come out, and the killer robots efficiently eliminate threats. Max and Reese are frightened, but the robots recognize them as humans and offer medical assistance. The robots explain that they have sensory devices capable of differentiating between humans and zombies based on body temperature. Jude approaches the gate, ready to leave, and discovers a zombie inside, leaving Duke concerned about how it got in. Elvis goes to check the gates while Duke finds a white piece of cloth in the zombie's hand. He goes to check on Anna, who has been attacked and infected. With a heavy heart, Duke takes out his gun and shoots her. The group mourns Anna's death, but their focus shifts when Elvis returns with alarming news that the zombies have overrun the gate and there are too many of them. Just in time, Reese and Max arrive with killer robots who quickly eliminate all the zombies. With the immediate threat neutralized, Max instructs everyone to gather their belongings and meet in 30 minutes, as they plan to leave the town. Duke convinces Max to let him come along, as he is the only one who knows all the routes and leads them out of the city. Despite Duke's cruel behavior with Max, he eventually agrees, allowing Duke to join their escape. Using the robots as a shield, they push forward, killing zombies. However, they reach a point where the robot runs out of bullets and get overwhelmed by a large group of zombies. Undeterred, they enter a wrecking yard and construct a new shield using the robots. Jude and Max work together to weld guns into the robots, enhancing their chances of survival, while Duke works out the easiest route. In the yard, Jude expresses gratitude to Max for his unwavering efforts, and he assures her that she'll be fine with the kid because she is strong. The next morning, their shield starts to break suddenly due to a malfunctioning robot that has sided with the zombies. Lynn tries to hide, only to discover that Duke has locked the room for his safety. Feeling betrayed, she joins the fight against the zombies, and Max manages to defeat and hang the robot using a car lifter. They try to escape in a car, but zombies surround them from all directions. Max calls for Duke, but Lynn lies that Duke is dead as he had betrayed them. They leave, and Duke is left behind and devoured by zombies. Suddenly, they see the government initiating firebombings. They reach the ghost city, instructing the robots to hold off the zombies as they enter. Running frantically, they find no clear path. Elvis is attacked and falls to the ground, and Lynn tries to help him, but the others urge her to run for her safety. Jude and Lynn hide while Reese and Max fight off the zombies. Elvis is alive but badly injured and unable to defend himself, tragically getting devoured by the zombies. Reese finds Lynn and Jude, but more zombies attack them. Lynn sacrifices herself to protect Jude, allowing her to reach Reese safely. Lynn is outnumbered and consumed by the zombies. The firebombs reach the ghost city, and Jude, Reese, and Max jump into the water, desperately attempting to evade the firebombs. After the fire subsides and all the zombies have been cleared, Jude and Reese find Max on the roof. Relieved to see him alive, Reese questions Max about his mission, and Max reveals that he was supposed to rescue Jude and eliminate the whistleblower, who turns out to be Reese. Reese explains that he had to reveal the truth about the virus to stop its spread. Max decides not to kill Reese, acknowledging his noble cause. Max tells Jude it's time to get her and their child out of the city. Reese suggests not naming the baby Max, but Max insists on a strong name for the child, and they agree to name him Max in honor of his resilience and survival.